Good morning, Ms. Zucker, and hello and welcome everyone. My name is Andrea Ewart. I am the president of the Organization of Women in International Trade. With me is Ms. Anita Zucker, who is being honored as the OIT 2016 Woman of the Year. Briefly about OIT, we are a global association for women in international trade and business. Our 2,000 plus members impact hundreds of millions of dollars in trade and business transactions annually. OIT's focus is on adding value to our corporate, mid-sized, small business and individual members around the world. To learn more about our organization as well as our programs, please visit our site at www.owit.org. OIT has a long-standing tradition of annually recognizing women who, through their dedication, energy, and passion, have made meaningful contributions toward advancing women in international trade and business. The nominees are drawn from OIT's chapters, and this year's winner was nominated by our Charleston, South Carolina chapter. In recognition of her work to enhance the status of women in international business and trade, the OIT International 2016 Woman of the Year is Anita Zucker. Briefly, here are some of the reasons that the Charleston chapter nominated Anita, who is the chair and CEO of the Intertech Group, Inc., a multinational conglomerate with holdings that include chemical production and aerospace engineering. Beyond her dedication to her multinational company, Anita is being honored for her work in education and enhancing the status of women in international business and trade. She founded the Education Foundation, which works to improve the quality of public school education, and which is also a driving force behind better opportunities for graduate level studies in engineering and international business. She has led trips to the Middle East and Europe for trade discussions and served for 10 years on the advisory board of the College of Charleston's School of Languages and World Culture. Anita has served as one of only 2 female presidents of the Charleston Chamber of Commerce. She is a mentor for the Charleston Chamber of Commerce Young Professionals Program, and she is the first woman to have occupied the position of governor of the Hudson's Bay Company, founded in 1670. Finally, but by no means least, by proactively leading Intertech and its growth to its current status, Anita sets an example for women of all ages involved in international business. Anita, again, welcome and thank you so much for your work, your contributions, and for sharing your time with us this morning.
Thank you, Andrea. I'm truly quite honored to be receiving this award from OIT. I'm really, really proud of the organization, especially our local organization and the work that it does for women in international trade.
Thank you. So in preparation for this interview, I Googled the Intertech Group. Your company website lists business sectors, aerospace, specialty chemicals, leisure and entertainment, real estate, financial services, manufacturing, investments. The company owns and operates ice hockey arenas in Canada, creates products for use in aircraft, produces high temperature fibers for firefighters and emergency response teams, and owns a host of manufacturing companies around the world. From among this broad grouping, is there a business sector or activity of which you are particularly proud, and if so, why?
Thank you for asking. I'm really proud of everything that we get to do as a company. I particularly love PBI Performance Products, and our manufacturing operation is located in Rock Hill, South Carolina, and I have offices in Charlotte, North Carolina, and laboratories there as well, and offices in the UK and in Germany. And I'm really proud of that company because the polymer fiber that we make is high heat and fire resistant, and it is used in firemen's turnout gear. That's our main product. However, we are actually, depending on the formulation of it, it's used in a variety of different things, and I love it because For firemen's turnout gear, we actually sell globally all over the world. We have about 40% or so of the firemen's turnout gear throughout the world, and about 70% in the U.S. And we use our local port to ship product as well as to receive our raw materials so that we can make this product. And I think that's really important to know. And then, of course, I have people that travel the world for sales purposes. I have engineers that work on this, and it's also great to have women in those positions, both in sales as well as in engineering, in creating these products. But what's special, even more special about that company, is that beyond firemen's turnout gear, we also make other products. So for right now, we're in phase 3 trials, clinical trials, with a device made for use in the medical industry to work with doctors using lasers in order to cut tissue. The fiber that we create can, take a very hot temperature. And then back to firefighters, we can give a firefighter 10 seconds more. If, God forbid, there's a 2,000-degree flashover fire, we can hopefully save their lives. And the key is, for everything that we do in our business, is following best practices, including for firefighters. Firefighters have the chance to survive a major fire if they're following their best practices. And unfortunately, we saw that happen right here in our own Charleston, South Carolina. A year ago yesterday, we lost 9 firefighters. And today, our city uses our product that we create, PBI.
That is fascinating. I particularly loved that example that you shared of the interconnectivity of, the industry where you're sourcing locally as well as globally, selling locally as well as globally. I love that example. Thank you for sharing that. Now, in looking at your website as well, I noticed that there is no mention of you or of other corporate offices on the website. Is there a particular philosophy behind that approach?
So in some ways, we chose privacy and keeping some safety and security around the people that work with us. And, we are a private company, and so that was a part of our belief. If you look us up, you'll find some of us. And I am the CEO and the chairperson. My son is president of the organization. I have a chief operating officer, a chief financial officer, and a chief strategist who are part of my leadership team. And, we've just found through the years that we really needed to keep some level of security. We allow people, if they want to get to us, they can send an email through the website if they don't know how to reach us. But interestingly, we're all involved, and I've actually become nationally and internationally involved in a number of organizations. So people know who I am, but it was just a choice that we made to try to keep that down for the sake of our families and keeping them safe and secure.
Yes, perfectly understandable. I think it's an understandable choice, although for someone like myself coming to the site, it's always interesting to learn a bit more about the people behind such interesting and valuable products, but certainly, and services as well, but certainly understandable. Please share with us a bit about your journey. Did you always want to be an entrepreneur?
I will do that. Okay, so actually I started being an entrepreneur at the age of 18.
Wow.
I have a very unique story. My mother and father were Holocaust survivors, and they came to America in 1949, and I was born after they got here. And I think in order for them to survive, they had to be very entrepreneurial. And I have a mom who rescued some of her family who were able to survive, and she's just quite a character, and she still sells, and she's 93 years old.
Oh my.
She taught me a lot through the years about that. And then at 18, I got married to Jerry Zucker, and we were in college. both of us full-time, but we also started businesses. And so the entrepreneurship began at that point in time and has continued throughout our lives. And today our family's involved in startups. My sons are really involved in helping get a lot of startups off the ground, going in and performing as the sharks in Shark Tank. I have two sons who absolutely are very good at that, and they will go in and listen to pitches. One son does it at his alma mater in Boston, and one son does it right here in Charleston, South Carolina. And so it's really great that they have that skill now as well. And so we can be actively engaged in looking at all kinds of businesses, but this started for me a long time ago, and my husband and I we had restaurants, we had a record store along the way, I still have restaurants today, so it's just really interesting. We have a few retail operations, small ones now compared to the Hudson Bay Company, but we're just a different kind of company, and being a private company, if we see something we like, we can make an investment anytime we see an area. So we are willing to take risks. We're willing to take the chances if there's something that we believe in. And so that's part of how I view the entrepreneurship of us and of our family. And for me, yes, I was always involved, and I taught school, and I didn't expect to be sitting in the seat I'm sitting in today. And I spent about 14 years working in public schools. I taught elementary school. And when my second child was born, my husband and I made the decision, okay, you can stay home now. So I said, okay, I'll stay home, take care of kids. I lasted about 2 months, and I needed to go back to school. So I did not go back to teaching, but what I did was I'm always teaching. That's my life. I believe in learning. And so I got involved in our business and began to learn about the product lines, created some products that got sold because my husband wanted me to learn how to do all kinds of things. But the fun thing that I got to do was I ran our business partnerships working with the public schools. And for me, of course, it fit right into my wheelhouse. But it also gave me an opportunity to be a part of our business. And I didn't really learn the inner workings right away. That came later. As life changed, my kids began to grow up. Unfortunately, about 11 years ago, my husband was diagnosed with brain cancer.
I'm so sorry.
And that was so totally unexpected. And for just under 2 years, he mentored me, he taught me, he was my role model. He taught me everything he could possibly teach me in that short period of time that we had to share with each other during his very devastating illness, so that I would be prepared to take the helm. And I have to give him a lot of credit because he worked so hard with me, but he gave me so much. And I'm here today. I'm sitting in this seat. I didn't have to break a glass ceiling. Unfortunately, it was handed to me through grief. But the good news, because we spent so much time communicating, which, by the way, communications is such an important piece of life, it really helped me to have a feel for what I was going to have to get involved in and how to work with a team, because his management team, knew that I was going to be involved, and so I got involved with them, and I made sure that he gave me very good help. And he's left me with these awesome keys to success, and at some point, if you would like to hear them, I would love to give you some of those keys to success, and I've added a few of my own. But he really helped me to get to where I am today. And I'm so proud to be sitting in this seat and hopefully doing a job he's proud of.
Well, I said, thank you for sharing that. That's so interesting and important to hear, and also obviously very personal as well. I want to also take the opportunity to acknowledge a little bit of what your husband must have seen in knowing that he could hand over this company to you And so it's important, of course, and to acknowledge the confidence and that he, you know, and the skill sets that he gave you. You said he mentored you for 2 years, but I'm sure that he must have seen a lot of what you didn't see in yourself, which speaks to me about also the importance of mentorship. And it seems to me that you have carried that forward in the mentorship work that you do. Could you say a little bit about that?
Sure. I really believe in serving as a mentor to others, but I've had many mentors along the way. Jerry was one. I consider my mother one of my mentors, and I have other women, including president of our 2-year college here in town, and she really has been a mentor, not even knowing she's been my mentor. So I think sometimes you can be a mentor as you work and you inspire others. But I do sit down with young women. Many of them will call and ask, and you know what, I take the time to sit down with them because I think it's really important to help give them guidance. And I let them ask me questions, and I try to help them walk through issues that they're dealing with and how they can move forward. Because, again, it's through communications, it's through inspiration, it's through teaching others things that worked for me, for example. I like to share with them the things that have played a role in my life and that have helped me grow. And I have to say, I mentioned that learning is lifelong. I am still working at growing professionally, and so I make sure I'm engaged. And I try to encourage these young women to continue to be engaged in learning along the way while helping them figure out where do they want to go with what they're doing, with their jobs, if they're in college, you know, looking at what they're majoring in, where could they take it? What are the opportunities out there for them? And so I really, really, really think that it is so important. And I will tell you that one of my women mentors taught me to be fearless. And I think that's just a skill that we as women need to have, that we have to have the confidence. Thank you for saying that my husband saw something in me. And I think he did because he empowered me to take on this leadership role. But being fearless and surrounding yourself with mentors is so important. And then engaging with what you do, engaging in the community, engaging with other women. I really love being involved in organizations that support women because I can add to that support. It's hard to give you every detail, but again, like I have a meeting next week with a young woman who is working really hard to figure out. She's just finishing her MBA, and she's trying to determine the direction she's going to take. And so it's fun to sit down and help her figure that out.
Yes. Yes, you mentioned your keys to life or to success. I would definitely love to have a longer conversation with you about that offline, or when we're not recording this, I should say. But I wondered, is there from among those keys or from some other experience, is there some advice that you would give to a young girl, or for instance, even this you know, person that you're meeting with next week, who may be listening to this and say, oh, one day I would love to be in Anita's shoes, having built a successful multinational company, and, you know, being honored in this way?
Sure. Well, one of the ones that I consider to be extremely important is to always have a sense of urgency and a bias for action. So in other words, don't sit around and procrastinate, but think through what you need to achieve and get it done. Don't wait. Okay? And that, to me, that impacts everything. And that, you think even in history, the history of the world today, if we stopped and we looked at what's happening and we figured out what kind of action we could take, we might be able to stop some of the things from happening today that continue. I just find that so important. And in business, I can't sit around and wait. You know, if I don't make a decision, that could impact each and every one of my businesses. So when the decisions come my way, I have to make sure I'm educated. I have to learn everything I can learn, and then I make an educated decision as quickly as I possibly can. And I believe in operating in that manner. I think it's truly important. And I also believe in leading by example, having a work ethic that others can emulate. I think that is another one of those keys to success that's so important. If I'm going to be the leader in my organization, then I need to live a certain lifestyle. I need to behave in a certain manner, and I want to see other people do that as well. And it's not just being the wild kid out there doing whatever and everybody's seeing how crazy you are. Well, that's fine. You need to go and have fun, but at the same time, you know, within reason, but still be that role model in everything that you do. So those are some very important things to me.
Thank you. I would love to follow up on every thread that's come to my mind as we've been talking, but I want to be cognizant of your time and also just for those who may be listening. So I hope that we can perhaps, I'm thinking we could schedule another time to do something longer. As an organization, we've decided that we're building in some professional development programs for our members. And I'm thinking it would be wonderful to schedule you for a longer conversation for those of our members who might be interested, if that is something that you'd be available to do.
Sure, I would be honored. I'd be absolutely honored. And I think the teaching is so important. And you know, I have so much that I feel like I can give, and I learned a lot. I had wonderful people teaching me the tools to be a successful leader. And those things I think are so important for women. And we're very different from men in how we handle situations and the emotions we bring with us. But at the same time, it's amazing how much we're able to get done in a very different manner. And I think we're really good at bringing people to consensus. And I think that's helpful. And I really think women play a very special role in business and industry today, especially in international business. And I think we could play, I would think, a much bigger role in the world if given the opportunity. So there's a lot I would love to share.
Okay, we'll definitely be following up with you on that. Let me ask you one more question. As the timeline on your company website, going back to your website, goes up to the 2030s, and clearly, we're just in 2017, so there's more that's to be determined, I assume. But this took me back to the strategic planning activity that, as an organization, O International went through just last year under my presidency, and we determined a vision that we want through 2025. And one of our goals is to make OIT an internationally renowned organization. And I wondered if you had any thoughts or advice on how can an organization like OIT give value, particularly to its corporate members or any other person.
I think you're doing some of those things by the courses that you're teaching. I think the key, though, is finding ways to really push yourself through social media today, because we operate differently. So I really, I know a lot about CWIT, and I know they're out on Twitter, and I haven't looked to see if you're on Twitter. But I am learning to do all of those kinds of things. So I think today, one of the pieces of advice is let's use a lot more social media. Some of my smaller companies whose names you wouldn't recognize at this moment, they're very much out on social media. My corporate, the Intertech group, is not, because that's just the way we operate. But our individual companies are very much involved in social media, as they should be, because they are involved personally in the sales, whereas at the corporate headquarters, I'm not involved in the sales side. But it's really important to me, and I think through that, you've got to be able to at least get women to want to follow you, and that's big, in my opinion. So getting your name out, helping us all to know who you are so that we can tune in and connect, finding the mentors that you have. I saw the businesses. It's wonderful that you have so many different organizations that support what you do, and I think that's phenomenal. I think you need to keep providing mentors for women. I think you need to continue to teach. I think you have to teach women to love the journey that they're on. And also, you know, sharing those testimonials is huge. And I saw you have a few women on the website. Those things are wonderful. But again, just the way we are in today's world, it's all about having access to information and opportunities. And so we have to create that. And I think even as this woman who's sitting here with a life that's changed so much from when I began, is I'm realizing how much time I have to deal with social media, because that's how we get the word out today. And we're dealing with younger people. And, you know, I do a lot of work with millennials, and I think a lot of what we have to do is we have to communicate. And that's C word to me. We have to communicate, we have to care, we have to show compassion, we have to collaborate. Those C words are critically important in how we move forward in any business and any company.
Well, thank you so much for that. Well-spoken words, which we'll definitely look and take into account, put into action. Sounds as if we need to do more of what we're already doing, and that's both reaffirming as well as encouraging. So thank you very much for your time again. Congratulations. We're very honored to be able to present this award and to be able to have this discussion with you this morning. Thank you.
Oh, Andrea, thank you. And again, I'm so honored. I'm honored to be able to just receive an award like this. It means so much to me and our businesses. I'm really proud of the work that we do throughout the world. And so I can't say enough, but thank you, thank you, thank you. And have a wonderful day.
Thank you. You too.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.